This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Cincinnati and Louisville play in downtown Cincinnati on Friday night at the Heritage Bank Center. I had Jody Demling on, the publisher of Cardinal Authority 24/7 Sports Louisville, to preview the matchup. And if you haven't seen anything of the Cardinals so far this season, get you caught up on what you might have missed. Make sure if you haven't already, you go down, you subscribe to the channel. You also subscribe to the audio platforms of this podcast, Apple, Spotify. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a rating, leave a review, all that good stuff. Here's Jody Demling. Great to be joined today by Jody Demling, publisher of Cardinal Authority. I mean, Jody, you've been covering the Cardinals down there at Louisville for decades, and I'm glad we were finally able to make it work here on the Rebound Rundown. I've been looking forward to having you on. You're a legend that covers this team, and I want to start first off by getting an overview on this Louisville team and where they are so far this season. Obviously, a huge win over Kentucky. They have a challenging schedule. They're going to be playing Cincinnati at Heritage Bank downtown here in Cincinnati on Friday night. So we're going to get into all of that. But first, want to catch people up on, from the insider's perspective, what Louisville has done so far. I think they're a team that has very deserved national championship aspirations this year under Pat Kelsey. What's worked so well? This backcourt trio, and really you could say four of them have been spectacular. What has worked so well for Louisville to get them to this point?
I mean, when you look at it, we have to start at going back to, what Pat Kelsey did last year, because I don't think they'd have this group of talent together and would have been able to pull this off had they not shown what they did last year. He calls it the revival. I mean, he's, anybody in the Cincinnati area knows him. He's, I love his great line. He makes coffee nervous, because every time I'm around him, it's just kind of like, whoa, that's just the way he is. But I think what they did last year has helped them to be able to put this roster together. I think it was huge for them to keep a guy like Javon Hadley, who was kind of a glue guy, who's kind of a guy that you can plug in and do a number of different things. Hey, Javon, we need a couple threes. Hey, Javon, go get some rebounds. You've got a guy like that is that's kind of the leader of the team, or the almost the grandpa of the team. Now he's in his sixth year, and then you put all these pieces around him and all this thing. And I just think what they did, to put this team together has been pretty remarkable. When you look at it, and now they've played 4 games, and look, Ohio University was not terrible. Ohio University is going to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
I thought South Carolina State wasn't very good. Jackson State wasn't very good, but Ohio University is going to win a lot of games. And then Kentucky's one of those. When you say 4 games and you've got 6 guys who are in double figures, that's saying something. But I guess to go back to your question, what maybe has impressed me the most is how Pat and his staff have used these guys and made sure to this point that they're trying different things. They're doing rotations and all that. They're keeping everybody happy, basically, is what it is. Now, it's not going to happen. It's not going to keep that way all year. There's going to be guys that are going to get hurt, and the feelings hurt, and or injuries and different things. It's a fascinating team to be around and to cover, because there are so many dudes. It reminds me to go back. The depth wise reminds me of like that Kentucky team that won the championship back in '96 that Coach Pitino had, or the 2012-13 Louisville teams. The 12 team that got to the Final Four, the 13. That's the depth that I think you see. And quite honestly, people around here understand that that's what you have to have a national championship contender.
Well, and I think to your point, you look at what happened last night, the Champions Classic with Kentucky, and the national narrative today is, look, you let that number leak of 22 million, and whether that's a spot on number or not, that's the number that you're going to be judged against over the course of this season. And that's tough to try and handle those expectations. Now, you're missing Jalen Lowe, you're missing Jaden Quaintance. I get all that. But Louisville came in last week. They came into that game. They handled business easily at home. I know Kentucky kind of made it close a little bit in the second half, but that was a game that Louisville had in the bag. And the way that the game played out, now all of a sudden you're looking at this Louisville team. One, they have an incredibly engaging coach. Two, they have all of the pieces to me to make a run this season in a deep way because they fit so well and they're a really fun team to watch, right. Jody.
Yeah.
That's what sticks out to me. And that's why I think this fan base has become so engaged, not just with the coaching staff, but the team on the court is so electric to watch.
Well, and another thing you look at, they missed 7 straight free throws against Kentucky at the end of the game, or they would have scored 100 in all 4 of their games so far.
Yes.
Now, are they going to do that every game? No, they're not going to have good shooting nights. They're going to do, they're going to have to overcome different things. But to your point, the depth and to your point, the whole thing about this team, the way they've come together, and I look at them now, and I still see a lot of room for improvement. There's a whole lot of room for improvement. I mean, Michael Brown Jr. has just scratched the surface. Like, he's getting better every single time he goes out on the floor. And he's going to do that because of his work ethic and his attitude and the way the staff is going to push him and the others. Now Ryan Conwell, I love Ryan Conwell. Like, he might be my favorite player on the team no matter what, just because, I mean, wherever he's been, he's just made big shots. He's just that tough, kind of rugged kid, he's that Indy kid, that Indianapolis kid with that mentality that I'm going to get a bucket here.
Yeah.
I love him. And the one so there's been a lot of NBA scouts that have been through Louisville this year, which is the first time in a while, which is nice to kind of have that. The couple that I've talked to, obviously Michael, they love Michael, and it's off the chart. But the one guy that they all mention so far hasn't had a good year. And he's not one of the guys in double figures, and it's Adrian Woolley. And I think Adrian Woolley, as one NBA scout told me just a couple weeks ago when he saw it, he said, when I saw him practice, I thought Adrian Woolley was the best player on the floor. Now, if that comes into fruition a little bit, even if he has a few games of that, then that takes his team to another level.
Well, and I think I fell in that trap when I was introing you on the show, and I was talking about the backcourt, right? And you think about McNeely and Conwell and of course Michael, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, where does Woolley fit into this whole picture? And he is that extra, I would say extra piece, but he's looked fantastic.
Yep. He's looked great. He hasn't shot it well, a 4 of 14 from 3. And like, I think the last game was better. I think he was like 8 for 22 to start the season. So he hadn't shot it well. It's going to come for him. I think people do kind of forget him. And, and with Ryan and Michael, I mean, even Isaac, now that they're playing, I don't think people forgot, but it was funny because at ACC Media Day in October, Pat Kelsey was on the stage for 20 minutes. He was in the media, like the breakout room, for almost an hour. So about an hour and 20 minutes of him talking and answering questions. And not one single question was about Isaac McNeely. So at the end, I was kind of like, what about Isaac McNeely, And then I realized, oh no, nobody asked about Adrian Woolley either. So not one question about that. That's the mark, I think, of a good deep team when you have people talking about you and one or two of your best players kind of do get left out. So it's kind of fun. They're great to be around. This is a really good team of talent wise and a bunch of good kids. And I love the culture that Pat has built. The whole thing last year with the revival kind of helped. Having a guy like Chucky Hepburn obviously helps. I think Terrence Edwards Jr. last year gets forgotten a little bit or maybe doesn't get enough credit for last year because Chucky was so good, but Fat was so good as well at times. And really those two were great leaders. So they started it last year. They were able to put this team together, and now it's been a lot of fun so far.
Before we get into the Cincinnati game, what's your take on the front court? Because we've heard all offseason about the backcourt, but if there was a question mark, it's what can this team get around the basket offensively and defensively?
Well, like I said, I think Hadley is he might be the most important guy on this team, really, when you really look at it, just because he's the older guy that's been around. He knows the culture. He knows what Pat wants. He's played in these venues. He's played against these teams. He's going to have to be one of their leading rebounders, and I think he will. Sanandra Frew is a guy who right now he's averaging 11.3 points and 6.3 rebounds a game. He's a guy that the first game, the exhibition games, people were like, oh my gosh, is this guy really kind of the guy that they think is going to hold down the middle for them? He's getting better and better and better. I thought he played well against Kentucky. He was really good against Ohio University. I'm excited to see him as he moves forward. He's the one maybe on Friday night, because I think the game obviously will be more physical. It's going to be kind of more of a football type game, a physical kind of battle. And I'm really excited to see what he can do with, that European background and just I think he plays well in a game like that. You know what I mean? I don't think it really bothers him as well. And then Kenai Roos is one who some people look at him as a wing. Some people look at him as whatever. He's grown to be 6'9", almost close to 6'10". He's going to have to do some stuff for them, in as far as, rebounding and defensive with some different guys and all that kind of stuff. And Vangelis Zaguris and Kason Pryor are two that if they come around, it's kind of a bonus. Zoo is the big Greek kid who at times he looks lost and at times he looks just really good, and he's strong and physical. And Pryor will get it. Kason Pryor, still at the end of the last year at the NCAA tournament, there was a couple of the assistants that were like, look, Kason Pryor's our best player. Like, he was our best player on this team last year. And you saw that in the first 7 games that he was really good. He's just struggled a little bit, obviously coming back from the knee injury, I think mentally more than anything. Hopefully that he'll get over that. They'll keep putting him in here and there and a few moments here and there. And I'm excited to see him. And then Ali Khalifa, they call him the best big man passing, the best passing big man in the country. And we've seen that so far. It's pretty wild. He has 11 assists, which is second on the team. And I'm trying to look and see, he's only averaging 11 minutes a game so far. So they're putting him in different spots. They're running some different things with him, and he gets the ball to people and they make baskets. It's kind of wild.
I've really liked the schedule that Kelsey has put together. I mean, you have the Kentucky game, which is baked in. Right. You have Cincinnati now, and it's a neutral game, but effectively you're going on the road to Cincinnati right. in downtown Cincinnati. But you're also going to play Arkansas and Indiana and Memphis and Tennessee. I mean, it's a good schedule that he put together. And let's talk now about Cincinnati. This is second high major test of the season. It's a Big 12 team, but obviously Cincinnati, a ton of question marks coming into the year with this roster from the perspective of a roster that seems well constructed and well built, but they got to get to the tournament. Wes Miller knows that he hasn't been to the tournament yet. They haven't been as a program since 2019. It's a drought, and winning a game like this in front of effectively your home fans in downtown Cincinnati goes a long way to restoring some confidence and positive momentum in that program. Louisville's going to try and come in here and shut that down real quick in a game that they'll probably be favored in by 4, 5, 6 points at least. What's your initial take on this Louisville-Cincinnati matchup, Jody?
Well, my initial take is I'm excited to see. I actually will be in Dallas with the football team doing the football game on Saturday on the radio, but I'm excited to see. This Louisville fan base is crazy, is gone crazy over this team. So it'll be interesting to see how many people from Louisville show up. I think it'll be a pro Cincinnati crowd being right there, but I do think there's going to be a lot of Louisville fans. I'm excited to see how they kind of show up and show out. I think for Louisville, this is a different kind of a test. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think it'll be a physical game. I think it's going to be one of those that, maybe, they've got to hit shots. They've got to hit threes. If they don't, it's going to be, when are they going to get that first test is what I think of not making as many threes that maybe you want. Made 13 against Kentucky. If you're held in check a little bit in 3-point, which I assume, Wes's team is probably going to come out and that's going to be a big focus, I would think. how do you react? How do you react? Is Ryan Conwell and Michael getting to the basket? Getting some of the big guys some touches and different things. It's to me, it is the I kind of knew with the Kentucky game because of the magnitude of the moment. The building was crazy. The everybody going crazy in that. I kind of knew or felt like Louisville was going to come out and play really well and get off to a good start. This is the first road test. This is the first time they've been out of their building at all as a unit, and I'll be interested to see just kind of what happens. They didn't shoot it well against Kansas back in that exhibition, but still battled and fought and made it a respectable game at the end, and actually had a chance and cut it into single figures at the end, and then lost by 12. But this is a team that they've got, while it's all new, they've got some veteran guys, and I think I'm excited to see how they take on this challenge.
Yeah, Cincinnati, I mean, right now, there's not a whole lot of data to go off of, but the few games that are in there, second best defensive team on KenPom, but a mid-130s team offensively. They are a team that always has prided themselves as a program. Going back to the Huggins days, of course, McCrone, it's a defensive, tough-nosed, hard hat kind of program that wants to grind you down and play good defense. And scoring the ball has been a challenge in the last couple of years for this team, for Cincinnati. Defensively, I mean, I think that this is a good matchup for Louisville. You alluded to it already, but the guards, it feels like this is a time where they could shine.
Yeah, it is, and I think that the one thing Louisville defensively, they are they've given up some easy buckets. So I know this week they've had some extra time, and I know this week they've been focused a lot defensively. They feel like they can score, and they can score on teams, and they're going to be able to score points. They have to knock some of the easy buckets, the easy possessions for the other team down. And this is a good test because, as you said, Cincinnati has struggled some offensively, and we'll see how much Louisville has come here. I think the one thing that Louisville will do that creates a problem for most teams is their length. And that's what, you can put a team with Michael Brown and Sinan Defru, Javon Hadley, Kenai Roos, and Adrian Woolley on the floor. And I mentioned those guys because I think they're kind of the longest of the guys. And you're like, well, it's ridiculous. It's like there's, instead of 10 arms, it's like there's 20 arms out there. That it's just they're all over the place. And Conwell might be their best defender. I think when it comes down to it, he might be the lockdown guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the length, but he might be the lockdown guy. So I think defensively we'll see a better Louisville team this week than what we've seen in the last couple of games. They gave up 88 to Kentucky, 81 to Ohio U. Did a good job against Jackson State and South Carolina State. But again, I said those teams aren't great. But I am excited to see how they do outside of the KFC Yum Center. It's the first of really, you mentioned it, Cincinnati, then Fayetteville for Arkansas, and then Indianapolis for Indiana. So you've got 3 road games right there.
Yeah. Jody, before I let you go, anything else here on Louisville that you're looking forward to watching? I'd love to catch up with you another time before conference play starts, but going through the rest of this non-conference and, springboarding from this Cincinnati game, is there anything that really sticks out to you, maybe in particular from Kelsey as a group, whatever it might be? I'll leave the door open.
Yeah, I just think of the growth of Michael and how we heard about Michael Brown. We saw Michael Brown, the hype. He's the most hyped guy that I can ever remember at Louisville. And that goes way back. That's
saying something.
Samardo Samuels was up there. Even Donovan Mitchell, as he said last week, Donovan was like, I didn't have, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't that guy. Pardon me. He's the most hyped guy that I've seen coming in Louisville, and so far he's been fantastic. And he's a good kid, works hard. He's out there working before and after games. You see the workouts that he puts in. His dad's right there with him a lot of the times. This kid's been raised and brought up. 27 assists, 13 turnovers in his first 4 games as a freshman. That's pretty fantastic, I think, playing against Kentucky in the one game. You know what I mean? Being the one rival game. It's going to be fun to see exactly how he progresses this year and just how much better he can get. I'm excited for that.
Jody, I appreciate you very much for coming on, and tell the people where they can follow you and find you and listen.
Yeah, at J Demling on Twitter or on X, I guess, and then cardinalauthority.com. That's where you can find me.
Appreciate you. Talk again soon, Jody.
All right, thanks.